Welcome to Science Access. In today's class, we'll be talking about multiplication of complex number. If you know you have not watched my introductory video to complex number, you can go and watch it. Now remember, we made mention of the fact that complex number are numbers that they have a real component which I will represent with A and an imaginary component which I will represent with what? Yeah, this is the real component, this is the imaginary unit, and this is actually the coefficient of the imaginary unit. So this is the imaginary component, this is the real component. So we'll just bring out a complex number, then let's assume that this is a complex number. We'll have, for example, 3 plus 2i. Now, this is the real component, this is the imaginary component, this is the coefficient of the imaginary unit. Okay, so we want to multiply this with another complex number. Let's assume that this will have 4 plus what? 3i. So we want to carry out multiplication of, use this complex number to multiply this complex number. So it's a very easy thing. So how do you do that? It's a very simple process. As usual, you just carry out your normal expansion. Carry out your normal expansion. This times this, you have 12. Remember, you use this to multiply this and use this to multiply this. So this times this, you have plus 9i. This times this, you have plus 8i. You know, 2 times 4 is 8. So 2i times 3i, you now have plus 2 times 3 is actually 6. Then I times I is what? I square. So you now have 6i what? Square. Okay. Now, once you have this, you just carry out your normal stuff. This is 12 plus, add this together, you now have plus 17i. Now, note this. In my introductory class, I didn't mention the fact that I is equals to square root of 1 negative 1. All right. So I square is actually, now look for, so this square will cancel out this square. So I square is actually minus 1. So let's come to this place. We now have plus 6 bracket minus 1. Remember, is this I square, which we just derived here as negative 1 or minus 1. That is what we have here. So I square is now what? Minus 1. So we now have 12 plus 17i. Now, minus 1 times plus 6, you now have minus what? 6. In this case, what do? You can collect like terms. So collect like terms. So you now have 12. Remember, 12 and 6, they are like minus 6 plus what? 17i. Our final answer will now be, if you remove 6 from 12, what do you have? You have 6 plus what? 17i. So you realize that you've multiplied, use this complex number to multiply this complex number. What do you have? This is your what? Your answer. Your answer is also a complex number. This is the real component and this is an imaginary what? Component. So multiplication of complex number is a very easy topic. Let's just use alphabets too. Let me change this to an alphabet so we can just practice with alphabet in case you are giving that kind of question. Let's assume that this is a complex number, right? And you want to use this one to multiply this, so you can just put your multiplication sign here. It's the same thing. So we have A plus BI bracket C plus DI. Okay. This time this you have AC. All right. This time this you have plus ADI. Use this to multiply this. You now have plus BCI. Now note the order in which the alphabet comes does not matter. All right. So please take note of that. This one can come first. This one can come first. But the fact that A as the alphabet comes before D, that's the reason why I'm arranging it, and it's more appropriate in that manner. All right. If you use this to multiply this, you now have plus BDI. Even in some text, you realize that this, they are putting the I before the B. It's still the same thing. So once you have something like this, you now have AC plus, now since I is common to both of them, I can bring out the I, put AD plus B, C. Now, remember when I use this one to multiply this, I did not put the square here because I times I is what? I square. Okay, please take note of that. All right. Now, plus B, D. Now, remember, we made mention of the fact that I square is actually -1. I did the calculation in when I calculated my first example. So we now have bracket minus what? 1. So we now have AC plus. Now note, in some cases again, this one will place this way. So whether I put it at the beginning or at the end, it stays the same thing. Or I will now have I bracket A plus AD plus BC plus, let's move the plus. If I use this -1 to multiply this, you now become minus. Now have BD. So we can now collect like terms. So this and this, I is not attached. So we can now put A plus AC plus, or is it plus? It's minus. Minus BD plus I bracket AD plus BC. So this is actually our answer. So solving complex number is a very, very simple process. So if you are giving letters and you are not giving numbers, you can just solve it. Follow the same procedure which I used when we were talking about numbers, and you still get your answer. So thank you. In my next class, I'll be talking about division of complex number. Thank you for watching.